I invite you to stay with me for a moment and quietly follow along if this topic matters to you.
If any questions come up as you listen, feel free to share them in the comments, and thank you for supporting our work.
Imagine walking into a crowded room where every voice blends into a single hum. That was my reality, even after getting my first set of high-quality devices. I assumed the technology would fix everything instantly. But my brain was still struggling to decode the signals it received. Sounds were loud enough, but they lacked crisp definition and clarity. I felt isolated in the middle of conversations with my closest friends. It seemed like everyone was mumbling or speaking in a secret code. I began to withdraw from social events to avoid the exhaustion of guessing. Then, I discovered a concept that changed my approach to hearing health. If you appreciate stories about health journeys, please consider following this channel. I sat in a quiet office across from a specialist who offered a new perspective. She told me that hearing happens in the ears, but listening happens in the mind. She explained that my brain had forgotten how to filter out background noise. We started a regimen that felt more like a game than a medical treatment. I had to distinguish between similar words spoken against a backdrop of cafe sounds. At first, the frustration was almost overwhelming. My brain felt tired and heavy after just 5 minutes of effort. I wanted to quit because the progress felt impossibly slow. However, I stuck with the daily exercises for 20 minutes every evening. Scientists call this ability to change and adapt neuroplasticity. It means our neural pathways are not set in stone like concrete. My brain was literally rewiring itself to process sound more efficiently. I practiced identifying high-pitched consonants that often vanish in speech. I listened to audiobooks while reading the text to reinforce connections. Weeks turned into months, and I noticed subtle shifts in my perception. I could suddenly hear the cashier clearly at the grocery store. The wall of sound at restaurants began to break into distinct conversations. It was not a miracle cure, but it was a definite improvement. I learned that this therapy does not work the same way for every person. Some people see drastic changes, while others notice only minor benefits. Success depends heavily on consistency and the specific type of hearing loss involved. It also requires a level of patience that is difficult to maintain. Factors like cognitive health and processing speed play a massive role. There is no guarantee that effort will equal perfect results. I still have days where the world sounds muddy and confusing. Yet,
I now possess the tools to manage those difficult moments.
We often expect technology to do all the heavy lifting for us. Sometimes we must participate in our own rescue. Auditory training bridges the gap between the device and the mind. It reminds us that our capacity to learn never truly disappears. There is hope in knowing we can sharpen our senses with practice. If you struggle with clarity, this path might be worth exploring.
Thank you for listening to my experience with an open mind.